Hello everyone and welcome to take 2 of the Shauna Stitches podcast, episode number 22. Today is August the 6th, 2017, and yeah, I gave this a go the first time around and realized that for some reason the volume isn't working. So I'm not sure if the headphone jack on my iPad quit working or if it's the microphone, but either way, I had to scrap that completely, which stinks. So, yeah, hopefully I can remember everything that I said. It was a short podcast anyway, so don't feel too bad for me. It just stinks when you sit down to edit and, yeah, everything's gone. I have Cody down here keeping me company. There he is. He likes to say hello. And he's too short to be on the screen here, so. Anyway, I have some exciting news today. I published my second knitting pattern ever, and I guess it's not totally a pattern. It's more of a recipe. I've mentioned this before that I was working on my Afterthought Everything. Cody, hey. My Afterthought Everything sock recipe, and I finished the socks today, and I wrote up the pattern today, and I published it today. So needless to say, it's been a very busy day. I've been up since 7 a.m. and literally just been knit, right all day long. So without further ado, here are my finished Afterthought Everything socks. Like a weird angle on this. Anyway, there's one. You see that I did two. So what do I want to say about this? The pattern's up on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. I used 50 grams of Felici in the Sonora Sunset colorway, and the contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes are Knit Picks Stroll in Hot Tamale, which is a beautiful orange. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, maybe not. Anyway, I knit these using a 2.25 millimeter US size 1. Mostly 9-inch circular, and then I did use a 40-inch circular for Magic Loop for parts of it. I will say, if you have not ever knit socks or you're not comfortable knitting socks, this probably isn't the place to start, because my recipe is just that. It's a recipe. It does walk you through step by step, but it does not walk you through row by row. It doesn't tell you how to do everything. I do mention several tutorials that you can find online if you get stuck with anything. Specifically, you know, the cast on being Judy's Magic cast on, or the Turkish cast on. I mention the Kirby Werby tutorial for Afterthought heels, and Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, as well as the Knit Picks version of that, which is, it's different. But it's all mentioned in there. You can YouTube those or just do a Google search to find links to how to do that. Total side note, I'm drinking plain coffee out of my San Diego mug today. If you remember back, I showed these on the last podcast. This is the first version that I did. There is a heel there. It's just not on a blocker, so it looks kind of funny. And I finished the whole pair. Same concept. So the tutorial recipe, whatever you want to call it, will walk you through from casting on your first toe to attaching the yarn to knitting a huge long tube that will look something like that, and then attaching the heels. Tells you how to mark for the heels or where to mark for the heels, as well as how to figure out how long to make the cuff. So these are, I know a lot of people don't like as tall as socks as I do. These are a bit short for me, but I think they're pretty substantial when you consider this is only one 50-gram ball of sock yarn. I don't plan on using a complete 100-gram ball. Sorry, Cody's distracting. Because that would be some really tall socks, but definitely I like this method, and I think I really can't wait to try it again. I'm gonna try some pattern socks next. I never did make Glenn's July socks for the Mina Phillip sock collection. And I want to try that. I want to try a pattern pair. So if you think about it, if this is your sock tube, and this is the front obviously because that's the back where the heel is, you just knit the pattern here which is what she has you do anyway, only on the front side. Obviously leave the back plain. Makes it really easy to figure out where to mark for your heel, because obviously you're not going to mark for your heel on the pattern section. Yeah, and I just think that's a really neat idea, nice way to do 2 at a time without having to mess with 2 at a time on one magic loop needle. I know a lot of people prefer that, but I don't. I love using 9-inch circulars, and obviously other than adding the heels and the toes, it's a really good way to use the 9-inch circular almost exclusively. Especially if you have like a long trip or something, you know, you don't even have to worry about when do I need to stop for the sock, just keep going. Another note about my recipe, the reason I start with a toe instead of a cuff, because I've seen some where, you know, it's a cuff on each end, and that's great. But personally, I like to measure using my sock ruler, or even, you know, if you have the cardboard cut out of your foot, that kind of measurement. I prefer being able to measure from a toe and not just use a tape measure, you know. I like to actually know exactly where to put my heel, and this is a nice way to measure that, because if you start with a cuff, it's definitely more difficult, more fiddly to figure out. Anyway, so I talk about all that in the recipe. There are 2 versions of the sock recipe on Ravelry. All you have to do is click free download. It gives you the 2 options. One says pictures, the other says printable or something like that. And the difference is the printable version only has the main photo on the front. It still goes step by step. It just doesn't have basically a photo for each step. Whereas the picture download is much, much bigger, and it has a picture for almost every single step. So I wanted to give that option for those of you who don't want to use a ton of, you know, printer ink, whatever. I think the difference is 5 pages versus 11. And obviously not printing all those photos. So if you like printed out patterns, it's a good resource. You can print it and then always refer back on an electronic device, whether it be your phone or your iPad or whatever, to the pictures if you have any questions. I try to make it as clear cut as possible. What else do I want to say about that? I think that's all I want to say about that. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, as I always seem to. All right. As far as other finished objects, I have 2. One I showed in the last version of this, which I'm going to have to show you a picture of because I just washed it and put it outside in the sun to dry. So that is a baby flax that I knit. It is in the 0 to 6 month size, and I'll be inserting a picture of that here somewhere. I followed the pattern to a T, meaning I used the exact same needle sizes they call for. I did the purl bumps exactly where they called for. I didn't alter the pattern at all. The only thing I did different is I did use a DK weight yarn instead of a worsted weight yarn, but I don't think it made a big difference. That sweater is for a coworker of mine. Their baby's due in October, so I figured a nice warm winter sweater would be perfect for an October baby, and hopefully they'll get several months of wear out of it. I don't really have any concept of, you know, the size of babies or whatever, so I hope it fits. I hope it will fit for a while. Obviously, I know you can roll up the sleeves and whatnot. But yeah, I'm hoping that works. And then the second is for the same people, and it is a Bugle, the baby elephant stuffed animal. Stuffy, I guess you call them. This is in a worsted weight. It's in I Love This Yarn acrylic. I don't remember the name of the colorway, but it's really pretty. It's got gray and teal and blue, and black, obviously. I just thought this was good for a little baby boy. Stuffy. It was my very first time ever doing, of course I can't even remember what this is called now, I-cord. I've never knit I-cord before, and I managed to figure that out. It was not hard at all. And I used DPNs for this, which was a bit difficult, especially because there are parts of my finger that are literally falling off. Not like my finger's falling off, but the skin. I had to use my fingers quite a lot for this project. It was very painful. Luckily I managed to get it done in, I don't know, 1 or 2 days. But between the acrylic, the DPNs, and they were wooden DPNs, and it was just hot and sweaty, and my hands were sweaty. It made the yarn not glide on the needles well at all, and I really had to use my fingertips more than I would have liked to. This is a very well written pattern. It is by Susan Claudino. I love the fact that she tells you exactly where the eyes are going to go, which is nice because I've had some come out pretty wonky where like one eye's up here and one's down here. Maybe not that drastic, but still, I mean, it's hard to know exactly where. This was also the first time I ever did a 3-needle bind off. And I think this pattern uses it a bit differently than some probably do, but I also found that to be quite easy. I did attach the legs to the wrong part the very first time. I had to completely rip back the butt portion once and redo it, which was unfortunate, but anyway, still got it done. It's pretty cute. And I have people who want 2 more of these. So I don't know if my fingers can handle that, but if they ever heal and they don't feel raw, then I will do 2 more of those. I also have people who want 2 more of the flax sweaters. So yeah, I'll just go into that. Acquisitions plus future knitting, I guess. One of the people who wants another sweater is my sister-in-law. She saw the picture on my Instagram and wanted one for my nephew. He is 4, and so I picked out this color yarn. She kind of wanted the same colors of what I did, and I unfortunately did not have enough in my stash to do that. So this is the Sweet Roll by Premier Yarns. Here we go. Premier Yarns. And this is in the Black Pepper Swirl colorway. There you go. Hopefully you can read that. It's a bit blurry, but I think you'll figure it out. So I see a lot of people using the Caron Cakes. I think this is supposed to be very similar to the Caron Cake. I have never used either. The difference is this one I can get at Joann's, which I have locally, and the other one comes from Michael's, which I do not have. So this was easy. I'm probably going to cast this on today. We'll see. I'd like to get it done. And then as far as the other one is another infant size, which yay, those are so easy. I got the majority of the other one knit in like a day. I worked on it 2 other days, but they were very light knitting days. I think maybe I worked or something. I don't know. I had something going on where I couldn't dedicate a lot of time, but I found the sleeves to be a bit fiddly. They were difficult to close up the natural armpit holes. I've watched previously the Very Pink Knits tutorial on how to do that, and I should have rewatched and followed that, but it came out fine. It'll be fine for a baby. I just hope to do better the next time, and I hope to do better on my own sweaters that have been on the needles for like ever. I still have a flax on the needles for me, and I have a my Find Your Fade. No, is that what it is? So Faded. The So Faded sweater. I'll finish them eventually, I hope. But people keep asking for things, and I'm not one to say yes to everything. I don't know. Maybe I just want the gratification of a fast sweater. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I only have 1 work in progress that I've worked on, and that's because I seriously had like no brain space for projects for a while. The work in progress that I've actually worked on, I should say, because I have plenty of others, is my crochet granny stripe blanket. The last time I showed this was back in either December or January when I started it, and I left off there on that purple row, so I had almost nothing. And you can see I added quite a bit. I'm not exactly sure what sparked my interest in this. Again, although like I said, I just didn't have the brain power to be working on things, and then I got my sock yarn swappers package. Oh gosh. Sorry, my nose is very itchy. Something in there is shedding. Anyway, I got my sock yarn swappers, and it was Felici in last year's colors. And I don't like super thick stripes on my Cozy Memories blanket because you get like 1 or 2 colors in there. You don't get the full effect. So I just decided not to set any of that aside for my Cozy Memories and just to put it on my granny stripe blanket. So I think I've put 2 or 3 100-gram balls magic knot, or magic knot balls. Here's one of them. I have another one, and like I said, I think I've added 2 or 3 others since I started this, you know, just a few weeks ago. This thing is humongous. It fits my king size bed. So let's see, I'll try and show this here. There we go. It's starting out, keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. So there is my, let's see, where's my wingspan? I have quite a wingspan too, because I'm almost 6 feet tall. So there's where my wingspan goes to. And then I have this much more. So it's like 1.5 wingspans. So 6, maybe it's 9 feet long. That's just a guesstimate, of course. But anyway, it's going to take a lot of yarn. I have over 400 grams in there now. And it is nowhere near finished. I mean, what is it? Maybe 1.5 feet tall, something like that. But yeah, that was nice. With that cake and then the other cake that I have just waiting to be added, I don't have really any more scraps. So I need to knit some projects so I have scraps again. But that's the nice thing about that is I was feeling kind of overwhelmed with scraps. I still have a ton of minis, 5-gram minis, that I've ordered from either Row 1 or Sock Yarn Scrappers, but those I plan on adding to my Cozy Memories first, and then adding to my Granny Stripe, whatever's left. That's a nice thing because it uses, I mean, you can use just the smallest amount of yarn or, you know, quite a large piece of yarn. So anywho, that's that project. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I'm so scatterbrained. Anyway, regarding the Afterthought Everything sock recipe that's on Ravelry, I'm going to start a knit along for that. The knit along will start today, and I think we're going to go all the way through October 31st. So the thread will close October 31st, and I will pick a winner, possibly 2 winners, just depends on how many finished items that I have. And the prize will be yarn, maybe something in addition to yarn, and I don't have the yarn picked out yet, so maybe it will be a surprise. But I would love to see your projects. First of all, I'd really like it if you could add your projects to the Ravelry page. That way other people can see what you come up with. And then if you want to put pictures on Instagram, if you tag it SS Afterthought Everything, that'll be Shauna Stitches Afterthought Everything. Oh my gosh, Cody keeps nudging my arm and I'm about to spill my coffee all over me. So anyway, tag your photos on Instagram for that. I will not be doing a prize drawing from Instagram, I don't think. That could change, so tag your stuff. But I plan on doing it definitely from the Ravelry group. Maybe I'll do one from each. That sounds good. You can tell I'm doing this on the fly because I have not pre-planned exactly what's going on. But yes, what I want to see a photo of your sock tube first, starting at a toe, ending at a cuff, or I guess if you're doing a different one, you can use a different pattern other than mine. Well, actually you can't. Not if it's in the Ravelry group, so scratch that. Use my pattern, start with a toe, end with a cuff. I want to see that long sock tube, and then I want to see your finished product of the 2 socks. If you go onto the pattern, you'll see what mine look like, that long tube, and then the actual pair. So that's what I want to see to show that you actually use the pattern instead of just knitting 2 separate socks with Afterthought heels. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting things today. I think my next pair I'm going to do Glenn's socks, which I've not ever done an Afterthought Everything for him yet. And I'm going to use the Mina Phillips sock collection pattern for July. Her August pattern is kind of lacy and I don't think very well suited for a man. So, and I never did do a July pair for him. So I will knit those, and obviously I already went into that, but I'll just be knitting the pattern on the front and leaving the back plain stockinette. So that will be a fun adventure that I haven't done yet. Other than that, I think I want to cast on my August pair of socks, although I will be honest, I didn't finish my July socks. I should get on that, but I don't really want to. And I will work on those sweaters, and yeah, I have a lot of stuff going on. So anyway, thanks for tuning in and listening to my podcast, guys. I do appreciate you guys coming back week after week. If this is your first time checking out my podcast and you liked what you saw, my scatterbrainness and all, please click subscribe and you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Go to my Ravelry page, which is Shauna Stitches. It might be under Shauna Wood Designs, but if you check Shauna Stitches Afterthought Everything Sock Recipe, you'll find it. And download that pattern. It's free. Join the knit along. That'll be so much fun. And you guys will learn a different way to do 2 at a time socks. Yes, where can you find me? You can find me on Instagram as Shauna Stitches, 1 word. You can find me on Facebook as Shauna Stitches, 2 words. You can find me on YouTube as Shauna Stitches, 2 words. And I feel like that's just about everything. Ravelry group is Shauna Stitches podcast group under the groups tab, and my username is Shauna Stitches, where you can see all of my projects. All right, guys, I got lots to do. I need to edit this and yes, think about some dinner. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye.